Good morning, garden friends. Now, with it being the beginning of the year and we are planning out, plants, shrubs, or even possibly adding a structure to our garden, today's video is about me taking you back into the moment that we saw an area in our garden and had a vision in creating a very cohesive, inviting environment. This area started off with a vision of what I saw the potential it could be, one shovel at a time, and our ability to transform this area by adding a gazebo, a fire pit, and the meadow garden that surrounds the area. Even in the winter months, the garden still tells the story of the vision. While plants may not be in bloom, the surrounding areas of evergreens, hydrangeas, and other perennials that we have in there contributes to the vision we saw when we designed this area. So, what I'd like you to take away from today's video is trust your vision. Know that when you lay out your plans for the garden, that it is being a reflection of what you want your garden to say to you and those that come and visit with you. To be able to look at a space and not feel overwhelmed by it, but to allow those creative juices to just flow as you imagine what your area is going to look like. So come along with me, and like I said, I want to show you what we had to work with and what we saw as a potential to have an area that not only is inviting, but that we could gather with friends and family and enjoy the beauty of the garden. So come along with me. Okay, so this is what we saw. And to be able to look at an area, lay the foundation of what we wanted the area to look like. And while I know I am fortunate to have a husband that can execute my vision, over the years, the garden has changed along with the garden bed and the choices that I chose. In creating the pergola, it has become the heart of my sanctuary. In winter, you can really see the structure, the beams, the lines, the way it frames the area. But before any of this existed, it was just a bare, unattractive space, as I had shown earlier. But what I saw wasn't what was here, but what could become. I imagine a place to sit after a hard day of work, entertain friends, for it to be a place where the garden could wrap its arms around us. And that's the power of vision, being able to see our sanctuary in an empty space. By adding the boxes, it allowed me to add texture with the lemon coral, and that's what it actually is. It's the lemon coral sedum that in the winter it has changed into this beautiful rose color that I think accentuates the entranceway. And then to ensure comfort, for our guests, we ended up putting the sun blocking shade for added protection. And then at nighttime, for the ambience of lighting, we have the solar lights in this area. And I think it definitely is the center stage for this area. Now let me show you what we worked with for the fire pit. We literally had to move 15 tons of clay to lay that foundation, along with the gravel that we bought in to finish it off. All right, so let's go over into the fire pit area. And like I said, we felt that this would definitely be an extension of the pergola. And in the winter, the fire pit stands on its own, bold and honest. While I do have plants that surround it, because they are in dormancy, but you can still enjoy some of the evergreens that do surround it. When we were thinking about adding the fire pit, I pictured family, friends, long conversations of warmth and connection. I pictured this exact area being one to where we could connect and have fun. This was built from pure imagination. I didn't see dirt. I saw gatherings in this area. And I think it is very reflective of how it complements the pergola. And when I look at these areas, like I said, definitely a complement to creating a sanctuary where we can enjoy the beauty of the garden no matter what direction you are in. So let's go on over into the Meadow garden to see what it looked like. This is the area that we ended up extending out about 8 feet to increase the garden beds for the Meadow garden. I did the sheet mulching process, which allowed the foundation for me to be able to extend the bed, and also it makes it a lot easier to plant. Now, I made sure, because this was a full sun area, that the correct plants were chosen, and then it allowed me to incorporate my garden path that leads into the garden. All right, so here's where the Meadow garden begins. This area I have actually dedicated to my father, as you all knew, who had passed, and Kevin was so nice to build this for me to place in here, because while this area definitely changed after his passing, I want to remember him in something that I really enjoyed creating. Now, even in winter, it holds so much magic with the plants that move, with the soft texture that I have incorporated. And as you can see, some of the bulbs that are pushing through to catch the sun, and just the quiet beauty that natural gardens carry. Now, trust me when I say, when I started this area, there were a few plants in here that are my staples, which ends up being daisies, Shasta daisies. I have woodland phlox, my echinaceas that are coming up through here. And of course, my hydrangeas, and then also my knockout roses that are doing really well, even with this crazy weather that we have been having. And I think even in the winter months, there is so much interest in this garden as things start to come alive. But this is the thing. I wanted the garden to feel even more alive by adding the additional plants in here. I wanted a place where bees could dance in the spring, birds could collect seeds in the winter, as the whole space now shifts and sways for the season. Now, the meadow garden is where you really learn to trust your vision. And I think between the pathway and then the new design of the step down allowed me to envision this space looking totally different. And this is the thing. You plant for the future while still giving space to grow and change. And that is one of the things that I have been able to do in this garden. For spring blooms, for summer movement, fall color, and winter structure. And this garden possesses all of those characteristics. All right, garden friends. One of the things that I have learned in designing our garden space here, it is that the design starts before any plant is planted into the ground. Get your structure, whether you build a pergola, we have our window boxes, we have our lighthouse, the pit area, and then also the garden meadow. Because for this journey, the plants add the beauty and the structures tell the story. Now, while we did not create this space overnight, it came from us imagining what is possible. I know friends would ask us, do we really enjoy these areas? Because they say, a lot of times when, people hire someone, to do a job, do they really enjoy it? Or is it just to say they have it? Well, this is the thing. We didn't hire anybody to design our area. We didn't hire anyone to create our beautiful spaces. And like I said, I am very fortunate to be able to have a husband that can transform my vision into reality. Because I do believe when you put in the blood, sweat, and tears into designing your garden and doing the work, the appreciation is different. I think it is so much lasting that to know you were able to look at a space, create something that spoke to you, that was a reflection of not only you, but those that are close to you, to where the garden is an enjoyment for everyone. So if you are designing your own garden space, I would encourage you. There's nothing wrong with going big. There's nothing wrong with getting out of your comfort zone to create beautiful spaces. And then don't wait for everything to be perfect. Now, I say that in funny because, my attitude is when I want it now. But like I said, I don't think we would have been able to create what we have in our garden if we weren't patient. And as you guys all know, Kevin and I both work a full-time job. So patience is crucial when you are designing your garden area, especially when you are the one that is doing all the work. And I think what made us successful was we had a vision. We were okay with doing the work. And I think it was just imagining what the possibilities could be that we could create in these garden spaces. Well, I hope this winter look back inspired you to be able to see the possibilities through a different set of eyes, not for what it is, but what it could be. And that happens when you trust your creative vibe or energy when it comes to gardening. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need the vision and the courage to believe that you on your own can create beautiful spaces, those that speak to you. Now, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel and you want to continue to see, the beauty that the garden design ends up showcasing, subscribe so that you can stay current in regards to the changes that the garden does go through. Well, thank you again for visiting Inspiring Garden Corner. And if you enjoy my content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. I so appreciate it. Until next time, garden friends.